Drop your right here. So we're gonna start with the regular number two, go it. And we're gonna take it in better and then we'll read throughout.
Tibetan
I mean, Sanskrit.
English.
So you say English?
Yeah.
All right.
Or if you have a special tune, then we can do it.
I can do it one time in the.
Yeah.
All right. So I do it one time in the tune. When we reach. Sangye Chudam Sukhe Chanam Na Janjo Bandani Yatsuchi Sangye Jipeng Yipen Sonam Ki Rola Pancha Sangye Yopa Shoro. To go for refuge in Tilamilana to the Buddha of Dharma experience Sama. An American creating from listening to the Dharma, may I be benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge in Tilamilana to the Buddha of Dharma experience Sama. An American created for listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. We didn't have a Tushita, but I can read the four immeasurables. It's okay, Geshe? Yeah. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that knows no suffering. And may they always dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those who's near and far.
Okay, good morning. So the next lines are with mindfulness, introspection, and care. Always guard the doors of the senses. Repeatedly examine your mind 3 times a day and 3 times a night. Now, this is really talking about the actual practice, having paid homage to the lamas, personal deities, and so forth. Then, when you engage into the actual practice, one thing that you need to do is maintain mindfulness, introspection, and care. This is basically meditation. Yes, I said briefly yesterday that your practice can be divided into 2 sessions: meditative session and post-meditative session. Meditative session can be also classified into 3: preparation, actual practice, and conclusion. In the practice of preparation, we have what we call as the 6 preparatory practices. 6 preparatory practices. First of the 6 preparatory practice is clean your room or house whenever you are going to meditate. Not only for meditation, it is very important to keep your room clean, that you all know, you don't have to teach. After getting up, even if you don't just nicely fold your blanket and things like that, it's not good. Mentally, it's not good. Just make it clean, inviting, so that when you go work and come time, it's ready to lie down, It's simple to make it clean. So here the first preparation is clean your room or house, and then arrange your altar where you're going to do the meditation. You should have, if you're Buddhist, you should have image of the Buddha. You should have a scripture, maybe Heart Sutra, which symbolizes his speech. The image symbolizes Buddha's body, and the scripture symbolizes his speech. Then a stupa. If possible, that is important. If not possible, you can even just put pictures of the image of the Buddha, scripture, and the stupa. If that is also difficult, no problem. What is important is your mind. Your mind should be thinking about the Buddha, his teaching, and his mental qualities. The stupa symbolizes his mind. But for a reminder, if it is comfortable, you can do that. It will also help you. Just like this cloth, it's only a reminder. We all can wear it, This doesn't make me special. I can buy it from the market. You can buy it from the market, right? And shaving the head is also not so difficult. Take 5 minutes. But the purpose is what is being symbolized by all this. This is a reminder that this is your profession, Those who are in the army, they have army uniform. Those who work in the hotel, they have their uniforms. So the uniform is a reminder of the profession that you do. So that way these are useful. Right? But if you don't follow the main practice, which is reminded by these symbolic practices, then it is of no use. It's only for show. Right? And it might create problem with other people also if you live a life which is not true to what you present. Then for the great practitioners like Milarepa, have you heard about Milarepa? How many of you have heard about Milarepa? Number of you, not everybody. So you can buy this book, Milarepa's. There are 2 books. One, Milarepa's 100,000 Songs, big book. Then another is Milarepa's biography. So read Milarepa's biography. It will tell you how you can achieve enlightenment, how much practice you have to do. Almost unthinkable for us. The hardship that he had undergone. He left everything. Everything means everything, okay? He left everything. There's a big story. You read that, sometimes your tear will come down. The hardship that he encountered in his family, the hardship that he undergone, it will move you into tears. So what I'm saying is, he just left everything. Not so easily. He had encountered all these hardships, undergone so much study. The teacher did not teach him. He actually had made him very difficult, but he did not lose his faith. Luckily, he made the right one. If you do something with the wrong one, it's adding fuel to the fire. Don't do that. So anyway, what the point I was making was, when he was meditating in this cave, of course, as I said, there's nothing. Nothing means Clothes also no. There's no clothes. Naked. In winter, summer, whatever. And the food he used to eat was nettle, only nettle. You know nettle? The green, it's found everywhere here. If you touch it, it will, burn you. The nettle green thing. If you touch it, it will really hurt you. But when you cook it, it becomes delicious. So all he ate was nettle. And because of this, his whole body was like become green. So when he was in his cave, a thief came to his empty cave in the night. So the thief came and he was trying to find something. He was groping in the darkness. And then Military was meditating. He knew that he was there and he laughed and said, "What do you hope to get anything in this dark night when I don't get anything in the broad daylight?" Yeah, in the broad daylight, he is nothing. You see? Nothing means no stupa, no text, no Buddha's image. They're all in his mind. So if you're a good practitioner, if you're able to do that, that is best. Then you don't have to carry a stupa, carry a Buddha's image everywhere you go. Um, until you are able to reach that state, it may be useful to have at least some, easy to carry representations of these three. But when you reach that state, your mind is your temple. You see, it's really beautiful, amazing. But for us, in the initial stage, says you clean your room and then arrange the body speech, the representations of body speech and mind of the Buddha. This is actually explained in the sutra itself, where it says, a bodhisattva should go to a clean place. If it is not your room, then at least you go to a clean place. And then there you sit in a cross-legged posture. And by doing this, there are many benefits. If you clean the environment, clean the surrounding, there are many benefits. Number one, your mind will be clear. The mind of other people will be clear. Bugs will not be there. Mosquitoes will not be there. This is common sense, but this has been taught so long ago. Your mind will be clear. The mind of other people will be clear. The deities will be happy. And you have accumulated a cause whose result you will be born as a handsome man or beautiful woman. Okay? And when you die, you will be born in the realm of, in the celestial realm. So when you do the cleaning, you should say, I am removing the dust. I am removing the defilement. Meaning not the external defilement and dust, but the internal defilement and dust of negative emotions. There is a story of a monk whose mind was so dull, he could not learn anything. If he tried to remember the first line, he would forget the next. If he tried to forget the next, he would forget the line, the previous line. So then the Buddha said he has very strong negative emotions. So the job that the Buddha gave him was to polish the shoes of all the monks who go for the teaching. And then dust and clean the sweep and clean the temple. So Buddha said, when you clean, you should say, I'm removing the dust, I'm removing the defilement. But the dust is not external dust, it is the internal dust. The defilement is not external defilement, it's the internal defilement. So he repeated like this, and it said he really was able to purify his mind. And later on, he became a good practitioner. These are like skillful means to do. So, number one, clean your place and arrange the altar. Second, in front of the altar, now the Buddha, Dharma Sangha, and if you have other images, these images are like very important guests that you've invited. when you invite important guests, you don't just make them sit there offering nothing. That's why we offer this butter lamps. We offer this water, bowls of water. Have you seen those in the temple? Here you can see the bowls of water. Right? The purpose is you are not seeing these images as just an image made of iron and gold, but with this image you visualize, imagine the actual presence of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, whoever, as your important guest. Like if Tushita suddenly invites His Holiness Dalai Lama, we'll make all the preparations, make all the offerings. Similar. Okay. So the offering that you offer should be those that you have obtained through right livelihood, not through deceitfulness. If you cheat somebody, deceive somebody and earn something, and then buy something and offer it, this is like blind fooling the blind. We are, of course, the one who does is, of course, blind, but Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are not blind. This is like a beautiful line is there in this text by the great Kajiva master, Kamboba, Precious Garland, they're also called Precious Garland. Precious Garland to Supreme Path. There Kamboba mentions that cheating and deceiving the mother sentient beings, and then whatever you have obtained from them, offering it to the Buddha is like cutting a piece of flesh from the leg of the child and offering it to the mother who you love. So if you do that, will the mother be happy? No, of course, she will be forget about being happy. She will be horrified. So similarly, cheating and deceiving sentient beings and then offering those products to the Buddhas is similar like that. Because for the enlightened being like Buddhas, sentient beings they are his children. And Shantidev also says this, if you want to please the Buddha, please the sentient beings. There is no way you can please the Buddha if you are unable to please the sentient beings, and if you are unable to make them happy. This is such an important teaching, such an important teaching. The very purpose of development of compassion, bodhicitta, loving kindness, is to help these sentient beings who are stuck in all kinds of different problems and difficulties. If you don't show much respect to Buddha, it's in a way tolerable. He's already enlightened. He's omniscient. He's without suffering, you see. So to act and to show that you are respecting the Buddhas and all the enlightened beings and never caring about the needs of other sentient beings is hypocrisy. I'll tell you a story. Stories are sometimes very, very interesting. You know this story of Arya Asanga trying to see the great celestial, teacher Maitreya. You know that story? Okay, so Asanga was a very famous teacher, very learned teacher, but he wanted to have a direct vision of Maitreya, Chamagombo, Maitreya Buddha. He went into the cave, meditated for 3 years. There's no sign of Maitreya. He felt, I may not be able to get his vision. Then he came out from the cave. Now I don't know the sequence properly, but that's not important. So when he came out of the cave, he saw the pigeons sitting at the entrance of the cave. They always come, fly, and go, come, fly, go. So when they come, just their soft wings touch the rocks. at the entrance. Just by the soft touch of the wings of the bird, you can see the rocks have been smoothened. You see that everywhere, right? So then she said, oh, even the soft wings, the touch of the soft wings of the pigeons can, wear out the rocks, hard rocks. Then my just meditating for 3 years is nothing. I'm quite weak in my practice. So he went back, meditated for another 3 years. No vision of material. Said, oh, now 6 years. I mean, it's impossible. He came out. Then again at the entrance, he saw the water drops coming down and having made a hole. There's something you all see. So even this water just coming on the rock repeatedly can make hole. Then my perseverance is very weak. I must meditate and back another 3 years. 9 years, no vision of material. Okay? And I said, no, I think it's impossible. Impossible. Then he left the room, the cave, and he came a little bit down. Then he saw a man making needles from long iron, what do you call it? Iron rods, thick, long iron rods. He was polishing all of them with the cotton. Then I said, what are you doing? Asana asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm making needles. You're just kidding. How can you just using the cotton, and rubbing against this, long hard irons, how can you make needles? I already made some, see. So there already some needles. He said he had made it. They said, oh, if you can just make needles in this way, then my effort is very big. He went back again, 12 years. Again, no sign of material. He said, now I leave it. There's no place. He went down, left the cave and walked down, and at some distance he saw a female dog whose lower half of the body has full of what you call maggots, and devoured by all kinds of insects. It's insect ridden, full of those insects or what do you call it? Not flea. Anyways, insect or whatever. You got the idea, yeah? So the full of, infested with insects or whatever, eating. But the upper part, when this female dog, whose half of the body is already devoured by those insects, but the upper part is still very angry. When she saw Asanga coming, he was just barking, very violent. Then he developed very strong compassion. Oh my goodness, look at the nature of these sentient beings, Our half of the body is already more or less gone. It is infested with this, bugs or whatever. But still she is so angry. Then he wanted to help cure this female dog and wanted to remove those bugs from the body. Then he thought, how should I do it? And what he did was he cut a little bit of flesh from his leg, put on one side, because he also don't want to kill the bugs. And in order to move the bugs, he just closed his eye, and he wanted to move all the bugs with his tongue, one by one, and put it on that piece of flesh that he took from his leg. And as soon as he closed eye and wanted, stick out his tongue to take out those bugs, he was not able to do anything. He was not touching anything. And then he wondered what happened. He opened his eye. He saw material standing in front of him. The material for which he meditated for 12 years, he was standing there in front of him. And he said, you're very compassionate. Finally you appeared. I worked for you for so many years, You're really compassionate, in a sarcastic way, he said, he kind of was grumbling. Then Mitya said, no, 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 I was always there. But you could not see me because at that time, you lacked compassion. Now you develop this strong compassion to this female dog. That's why you're able to see me. And if you don't believe, you just put me on your shoulder, carry me on your shoulder and walk into the city. And then see how many people are able to see me. Then he did this. And then he shouted, saying, people, come, come, I'm carrying Maitreya on my back. Then people could not see him. And they said, oh, he has been meditating for 12 years, now he's insane. He couldn't see. There was one lady, elder lady, she was able to see that there was nothing that was carrying a female dog. Such stories, So what I'm saying is, Buddha's compassion, their readiness to help us is always there. Okay. They're like sun or moon. So we are like water, When the water is defiled and not clean, you can't hope to get a good reflection of the sun and the moon. Right? It happened here in the temple itself. When His Holiness was giving teaching, and then His Holiness was sitting on the throne. And of course, everybody was able to see him. There was one elderly lady. She could not see anything on the throne. Where is His Holiness? Where is His Holiness? People said, no, he is sitting there. No, no, I can't see anything. She couldn't see. So it happens. It happens, you see. So by this story, what I'm trying to say is if we make sustained, as we discussed yesterday, if we make sustained, continuous effort, we can get many things. For example, even if you seriously for 1 hour, 2 hours, especially just before you go to bed, visualize Buddha or visualize His Holiness Dalai Lama, it is very likely that you will see him in your dream. Even with such short attempt, it is possible. Because the mind is conditioned by what you do. What you do now will be replayed during the dream. And in the long run, it will be replayed in the future lives. That's how it works. Right? Right now you're awake, all your senses are like awake. But when you are sleeping, all your senses are withdrawn, right? The only thing that is present is mental consciousness. The body is hardly dead, almost like dead. But the mind becomes very active. You may be sleeping here in Tushita or India, but when you sleep, you get a dream of shopping in New York. Have you had such dreams? When you are back in your town and talking to your friends, having a cup of tea with them. Do you get such dreams? Huh? Right? So what is happening? What is happening is the mind takes all the experiences, impressions that you do in the day. You see? So this is how it helps you, not only when you're awake, but also when you are sleeping and dreaming. If you have done something good, you will experience that result of that goodness when you're sleeping in dream. And likewise in your future lives, that is the process. Therefore, when we talk about meditation and practice, what is important is involve your mental consciousness. Because what goes to the next level is mental consciousness, right? Not the senses. Senses, when the senses are gone, then the sense consciousness is also gone, right? So when you die, all your sense and sense consciousness is gone. So what goes to the next level is mental consciousness. So with mental consciousness, also there are different types: gross level, subtle level, very subtle level. So if possible, when you practice, involve not only the gross level of mental consciousness, but the subtle level, if possible, more subtle consciousness. That's why in the tantric practice we talk about, when you are experiencing that process of death, then we talk about using your subtle, activating your what we call as the clear light mind, the most subtle consciousness. Does it make some sense? So going around the temple is good. Prostration is good. Anything physical, verbal, virtuous practices that you do, it is good, but they may not be very effective. You need to use your mind, involve your mind. Then you can see the magical results. The world, after all, the world is what the world we see is how we want to see, right? And the difficulty with most of us is we keep on seeing what we want to see, not what we should be seeing. We keep on hearing what we want to hear, not what we should be hearing. When you hear a talk also, if you say the talk is very good, basically you are saying it confirms my way of thinking. I mean, in a sense, this is good because we are all agreeing. But then there may be part of talks which you don't agree. You may say, oh, it is I. So it's important to involve your mind. So therefore, the second part of the preparation is arranging these offerings beautifully, because if His Holiness comes, we arrange something, we'll arrange beautifully. Even if not His Holiness, some of your important guests come, you make sure your houses are clean, Then you will show, this is my bedroom, this is my living, this is the kitchen. You don't want to show a dirty kitchen. You don't want to show a dirty living room, you see. Normally what we do is if there is an area which you not clean, then say, this is where I live, and you don't show it. This is where I sleep, you don't show it. It means it's not very clean or something. Right? Right? So it should be clean, good for your health, and also for make other people happy. Then it becomes a suitable place for the. How can you invite Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in a dirty room? This is common sense, So clean it. So if there is a separate place for meditation, it is good. But if not, use a corner of your place as your meditation room. And if possible, then all places should be suitable. All places in your room should be suitable for meditation. But sometimes it looks good when you have a special, chapel or special room where we do our meditation and arrange things. But in a way, there is a little bit of duplicacy there. This is where I practice, and the rest where I do my naughty work. There's a little inkling, there also. So therefore, as much as possible, have a clean place. Now, one very popular offering that we make is the water bowl offering, according to the Tibetan tradition. I call it Tibetan tradition, but all these traditions actually came from India. So don't think this is Tibetan tradition and irrelevant to the Indians. I think it came from India. Well, prove that point. I mean, you can make as many water bowl offerings as possible, but normally we arrange 7, which is many symbolic meanings. But when you offer these 7 bowls, normally for the sake of easy practice, we just offer 7 bowls with water, clean water, if possible filtered water, because that's what you drink. Yes, if you drink filtered water and offer the unfiltered water to the others, that means you are not very sincere, right? Now, if you have some more time, then the arrangement is done like this. As I said, it came from India. In India is hot country. So when the guests come, normally they give water. Before entering the house, they give water to wash the feet. हाथ मुंह धोता है ना, wash feet and mouth or hand, clean it, then come. It's very good tradition, you know. You don't come inside with your dirty feet, you know. So wash it. So to represent that, 1 water bowl water for washing feet. Then after that, or maybe first you give water to drink, and then wash feet and then come in. So 2 water bowls. Then when you come inside the room, the guest, the place where the guest is sitting, you have a table or something, then you have flower offering. You put flowers, right? You see so many flowers, yeah, flowers. So therefore, the next 3rd bowl, you put some rice or grain or something, or without that also it's okay. You put flour on the 3rd bowl. 2 water bowl and then 3rd flour. Then you, as I already said, you don't invite your guest in a, stinky room, right? Smelly room. So the 4th bowl, you put some rice grain, then on that you stick some incense sticks. 4th. Argam, Padyam, Pupe, Dupe. Argam, Padyam, Pushpe. Pupe means Pushpe, flower. Dupe, Dupe. And then, of course, you don't keep your guest in a dark room with no light. So you switch on your light, or maybe you put a water lamp. So the next is water lamp. Then also it's an Indian tradition that when you have the guest, then you sprinkle some fragrance. Chirakpai. And then, of course, you don't keep your guest hungry. So the next bowl is food, biscuits, or whatever, fruits, whatever you give those things. So this is how you arrange. Okay, 1 water bowl, 2nd water bowl, flower, incense, lamp, light, then fragrance, then fruit. Then sometimes we talk about musical instrument, then you entertain the guest, right? So this, if you now watch, even today, if you watch some of the old Indian documentaries related to the kings, you see all this. When the king comes, you do all this. If you see some of the old Indian documentaries, you can see it. So that's why we have this. Now, if you don't have time to do all this, then just water bowl. The water should be clean. Okay. The most important thing is, as I already mentioned, that whatever you have offered, it should have been acquired through right livelihood, not through cheating and corruption. Okay. I've seen a number of people who just do all kind of dirty business, make a lot of money, and then become sponsors of his own institution. I'm sorry to say that. I smell that with some people. But I'm not the one who would screen and stop. But that is actually not the right practice. Especially in the case of the monks, we should not engage in the 5 wrong livelihoods. Then in the case of lay people also, by using wrong scales, things like that, by cheating, robbing, telling lie. I mean, if you go to the market, almost, I'm sorry to say this, almost everybody is telling the lie. This is the best, this is the new, I'm giving you the discount, and they're part of the daily business, telling lie. They don't even hesitate, If we tell lie, we feel a little bit ashamed, our face changes a little bit, but they are so used with a straight face that they say all these things, unfortunately. Anyway, so you can arrange all these offerings, but the most important offering is, if you're unable to do this, that is also okay. The most important offering is offering of practice. That means if you do practice what the teacher has asked you to do, what the scriptures have asked you to do, then that is the best offering, which Milarepa was doing. He had nothing material to offer. He said, I have no material things to offer, but I will serve my teacher through my practice. You see? So from the student side, that is the best thing. And from the teacher's point of view also, if you have many students, among the many students, some of them may be rich, so they may be giving you money and other big offerings. Then there may be others who have nothing to offer, but we do practice. If the teacher shows more interest to those who make material offerings and don't pay much attention to those people who have no money to offer, that is unfortunate sign of the teacher. That is not a very good teacher. He's looking for money. You see? So the teacher should be not looking for material offerings, but looking for practices. Student is practicing. From the student side, of course, if they have, they can make offer. But if they don't have, as I said, offering of practice is the best. Okay? So that is the second preparation. Then third preparation is sit on a comfortable seat. Sit on a comfortable seat means when you meditate, if you're meditating a little bit longer, then the cushion, the meditation seat should be comfortable. Comfortableness, it should be slightly abreast from the rear, from the back side, it should be a little bit higher. Otherwise, you feel like this and you will get very tired very soon. So it should be a little bit abreast from the rear, from the back side. And then on that, you should straighten your back. Straighten your back means, now let's do this a little bit, straighten your back, which means not making it rigid. Not making it rigid, but straight, not rigid, because the purpose of meditation is not to make you rigid, but to help you relax. Okay, so when we do the meditation, you should observe this 7 or 8 Vairochana postures. Number one, if you sit on the comfortable seat with straight back, it has 5 advantages, because the number one, it is something recommended by the Buddha. Number two, you will be able to do your meditation for a long time. Number three, with this kind of posture, if you adopt, non-human beings and other spirits will not harm you, and your body will also become relaxed, and your mind will become clear. So, full cross-legged or half cross-legged, with this posture, you sit on your meditation seat, and then first you repeat the formula of taking refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and then cultivation of bodhicitta. These two are very, very important for a Buddhist practitioner, right? Because taking refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha is helping you go in the right way, right teaching, not following the wrong teaching. Cultivation bodhicitta is to help you not fall into the lower categories of teaching, because you are talking about benefiting all sentient beings. So to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until I achieve enlightenment. Through my practice of giving and so forth, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So recite this verse and cultivate, take refuge and cultivate bodhicitta, and do this repetition as much as possible until you develop some feeling in your mind of taking refuge and generation of bodhicitta. Okay. Now the postures. Then there is also tradition of putting a swastika, something like a vajra. This is to recollect, the swastika or that vajra kind of formula is to remember the stability of your practice. Just as Buddha said on this one meditation seat and achieved so many things. Okay. And then there is also a kind of grass which is called kusha grass. You can put that under your meditation seat also. And this is said to be purifying. Okay. Even these days we use this kusha grass to clean the rooms in India. Now with regard to the 8 postures, basically it's 7 Vairochana postures. In addition to that, if you count the breathing, then it becomes 8 Vairochana postures. The 8 Vairochana postures are your legs, your hand, and your waist. This makes 3. Your leg, cross-leg posture. Okay, and your hand, left hand down, right hand on the left hand. Okay, and then touch these two thumbs together and put it, the tip of the thumb, put it at the level of your navel. By itself, your body will get straightened. Okay, and then the waist, as I said, it should be straight. And your 2 arms should not be like this. There should be ventilation. So there's growth of air, yeah.
Why is the right hand above the left hand?
I don't know. I don't.
Is it one something?
There must be some meaning.
And also,
Huh?
what do you do with the food after you serve it?
Huh?
What do you do with the food and other things that you serve? Like, okay.
Oh, you change it and you eat it. Then next morning you offer fresh one and you eat it. Because physically Buddha is not going to eat it. Yeah, you just imagine that this is blessed and you eat it. Okay, some of the questions, as I already mentioned, I don't know all the answers. And some of the questions I will not answer because I don't know. Some of the questions I will intentionally not answer so that you can do your own investigation, research. Because sometimes you give too many ready food, too much ready food, it will not taste much, you see. Okay, here I don't know. Okay, I'm not saying that. Normally, the left side is more related to attachment. Right hand is more related to anger. Right? And then also we have this, I don't know, I'm just guessing, Also, when we visualize these 3 channels, the left channel, right channel, and then the center channel. Okay, so the left channel represented by left hand, the right channel represented by right hand, and this tips of the thumbs of The two hands touching at the navel probably symbolizes the central channel. This is my guess mark. Okay. Three. Then your teeth, your lips, and your tongue. Your teeth should be kept in its normal position. Your lips should also be in its normal position. And your tongue should gently touch the upper belly. So that when you continue to do your meditation for a long time, the saliva doesn't fall, or it will also help you not to get thirsty. Okay. So this makes it 4. Tongue, lips, and teeth. These 3 are counted as 1. 4 postures. Then your head. Your head should not be tilted toward the left. This might induce attachment, as I already mentioned. And also should not be tilted towards the right. It might induce anger. And not too backward, it might induce arrogance, because arrogant people go like this. How are you? Okay. No, how are you? No, like this. The big business people, leaders, they go like this. So to stop arrogance, and also not too much forward, because that will produce sleep. You'll become sleepy. When you go down, when you sleep, it always the head goes down. Then you fall asleep. That is head. Then your eyes. Some meditation teachers, they say your eyes should be closed when you do the meditation. But it is true that when you close your eye, when you meditate, it looks like you are able to concentrate better. Because your eyes, ears, they are the doors, the windows from where the monkey mind goes out. So when you close the windows and doors, it looks like you are able to meditate better. But I would personally not recommend that, with some reasons. Number one, the reason is you should actually be able to meditate whenever you go. But you cannot go everywhere with your eyes closed. That's my number one reason. Second reason is, in order not to get distracted, there's the reason. If there is the reason, for you to close your eye, then you close your ear also. So there are many gateways by which you get distracted. So you should close all of this, which doesn't really make sense. So therefore, don't open your eye, as we normally do, looking everywhere. Of course, not that. And don't also close it completely. A little bit eye closed. And then looking at a place which is not very distracting. Maybe face your, face towards the wall, or something that is not very distracting, right? That's important. Because the purpose of meditation is, for example, if you are meditating on Buddha, you have no idea who is Buddha. So in order to get some idea, you look at his image first, right? You look at his image properly. That's why we say, when you buy a thangka or a statue, make sure that it is made nicely, it is of good proportion. Otherwise, you will say, oh, Buddha's nose is crooked. Oh, Buddha's eye is like lopsided and things like that. It's not good, because Buddha is kind of perfect. So you can say, not Buddha, you can say, oh, the one who made the statue, one who made the thangka is not so good. But don't say Buddha's eye is crooked, things like that. So what I'm saying is, buy a statue or get a thangka which is really nicely made. Then look at it, study it, and then try to remember that image. Get a mental reflection of it. Because as I said, when you're actually meditating, you're not looking like this and just meditating on that you are seeing, but you are meditating on the mental image of that statue or that tanka. This mental image, now you see it not as a tanka, not a statue, but as a living teacher, breathing, living Buddha. Right? Does that make sense? Some people, I have one Israeli friend, long time back, Israeli girl. I was then translator peace always. So one morning when I was walking out, I met her and she was asking, is it possible to get some Buddhist teacher? I said, what do you want? She said, I have a lot of questions. And I said, are you here for some days? He said, I'm here for some days. And I said, okay, come on, I will help you. Because I know it is difficult to find teachers who can teach in English. And she was genuinely interested. So I said, come. So I taught her a number of days. And she was very, very enthusiastic, writing everything down. One morning she came a little bit confused. She said, Geshe, I saw these images in the temple and people are just prostrating. I don't like it. Can you explain? Because many, religions, they say this is seen as idol worshiper, right? Idol worshiper is seen as something bad. So I'm a little bit disturbed. Then I said, as a kind of answer to her question, I said, when you travel around, do you carry the pictures of your friends or families? She said, yes. Then I said, you're stupid. I said, why? Because this picture is not your brother, sister, or whoever. This is just picture. Yeah, I know, but this helped me remember them. So the Buddha's statues, paintings also. We are not saying this is the real Buddha. This is a reminder. Okay, in this way. So what I was saying was, so get a mental image of that object on which you want to meditate. Be it a flower, be it a Buddha's image, look at it carefully, then get a mental image. Is it very clear when you try to, for example, remember your brother or sister, somebody you love? Please do this. Meditate for 1 to 2 seconds. Try to get an image of your brother, sister. Forget about Buddha for the time being. Brother, sister, or something that your dog, or something that you love, and see how clear the mental image is. Okay. Is it clear? Very clear? Very clear or hazy? Is it like when you're actually seeing that person? Similar? As clear as you are seeing somebody right in front of your eye. Is it so cool like that? No, I don't think so. Hazy, huh? Right? It is said that when you continuously meditate, the clarity will improve and things will be so clear as if you are actually seeing that person. It's possible. So that means now we have to continuously meditate. Because meditation is so popular, I'll tell you a little bit about how we do all this. Okay, I'll ask some questions. So when you were trying to get a picture of that object or person that you love, number one, it is not so clear. You got the picture but quite hazy, right? Right? Then second, When you try to focus on that one object which you wanted to meditate, in your mind, were you able to focus just on that object? Or many other things that you did not plan to meditate, they were coming. Many other things were coming.
Yes.
Many other things are coming.
Yes.
Once a Western nun came to see me. She said, "No, this nun, I'm joking." So she said, "Geshe Lhakdor, before I meditated, I was a nice person. After I meditated, I become a bad person." Why she was saying this? It's not that she became a bad person after meditating, but she experienced something like that because before you meditated, you have no clue who is coming, who is going in your mind. The doors and windows of your mind is open 24 hours. Devils are coming, robbers are coming, thieves are coming, they are stealing all your virtues, qualities, they're disturbing your positive emotions, they're bringing all kinds of negative emotions, junks, Nobody, there's no guard, no chokidar. Everyone's just coming and going like that. You never took notice of it. Now through meditation, you have started noticing who is coming, who is going. There's a beginning and good beginning. So therefore, now the purpose of meditation is when you, for example, focus on one object, then many other invited guests, uninvited guests will come. Then you have to say, "Sorry, I have not invited you. You have not registered. You have not registered in Tushita. Sorry. Just trying to focus on that one thing. It will take a long time to achieve that one-pointed concentration. It will take a long time to get rid of the unwanted invasions. Right? So the purpose of such one-pointed meditation is when you continuously do such a practice, then gradually when you achieve concentration, in the beginning you can use any object, flower, Buddha, whatever it is. It's okay. But if you are Buddhist and use an image of Buddha, there's double benefit. Not only there is an object of concentration, but you're also able to get familiar with the Buddha, so there's added advantage. But otherwise, you can choose any object, right? You can choose any object. Then gradually, when you achieve that concentration on one object, then you need to know the meaning, the reason why we need to concentrate. In what area we should primarily concentrate. You can concentrate on anything, generally speaking. You can concentrate on killing also. Mindful meditation is today taught in many, in the army camps. To number one, you have a very focused, gun to shoot. These days, they have what they call a smart blade. We can even chase people. They say things like that. But your mind should really be able to concentrate mindful. It can be used negatively, positively, everywhere. You see, it's only a technique. So in the case of us, the Buddhist practitioners, the purpose of concentration is so that gradually you are able to concentrate in developing all the good qualities, not for any object. That is the target. And especially so that you are gradually able to concentrate in helping others and helping. It's the most important thing, which unfortunately, not many people talk about. They always talk about concentrating on this subject, that object. What is the end purpose? The end purpose is to really concentrate, developing the positive qualities, and to be able to really, concentrate, remove the negative emotions, and then concentrate in helping others. There is part of the moral practice also, right? Okay. So whether you call it analytical meditation, now in meditation there are two types of meditation: one-pointed concentration, analytical meditation. Normally people talk primarily about one-pointed meditation, but in many other teachings, right from Nagarjuna to Atisha and all these great teachers, they lay a lot of emphasis on the analytical meditation. This is, I think, really important, more important than one-pointed concentration. Analytical meditation means analyze everything, investigate everything, examine everything, and find the truth. That you can't find just by concentration. You have to analyze. So concentration is really like summarizing what you've achieved. You meditate, you analyze impermanence. You just can't make your mind stay one-pointedly on impermanence. It doesn't make sense. Impermanence should be understood through analytical meditation. Why things are impermanent? What is the grosser impermanence? What is subtler impermanence? Things like that, Then when you get a fairly good idea of impermanence, then you concentrate. So concentration is really like in mathematical calculations, really like the summary, the sum total. Yes, this is impermanent. Then you concentrate. So these two must go together. Analytical meditation, one-pointed meditation. So in both the cases, okay. In both the cases, the purpose of one-pointed meditation, analytical meditation, is to make our mind habituated with the virtuous practices. Tsongkhapa, in his great stages of the path, right in the beginning, he says that you are controlled by your mind. Your mind is controlled by your negative emotions. Therefore, you are suffering. Therefore, you must make your mind habituated with virtuous practices, good qualities. There's the purpose of meditation. It's not just sitting in a corner and make you feel comfortable for a short time. It should be effective in our day-to-day life, in our regular life's activities, right? That's important. Okay. Now, when you meditate, for example, if you're meditating on the image of Buddha, to achieve one-pointed concentration, then while meditating, sometimes your mind gets very excited and it runs and goes out. That's called excitement. Then at that time, as a meditator, you should know that your mind is getting excited. And then you have to tell your mind, boy, don't get too excited. You are still in samsara. Still you are suffering. Don't want too much quickly. Come back. So think about something that has a sobering effect on your mind. Okay? Sobering effect on your mind, then mind will come down and then focus on the object. When the excitement is brought down and the mind starts meditating on the object, then sometimes the mind starts sinking. It will become dull. Okay? And the object of meditation is not so clear, but you are sitting there, the mind is a little bit sinking, a little bit sleepy, but you feel comfortable, very comfortable, because you are resting. That's why in many like developed countries, people work very hard in the day, and then in the end of the day, they go to a Dharma center nearby, they join a meditation group, and then, they say, wow, the meditation was so good, it's very relaxing. It is relaxing because you're sleeping. You've been working the whole day, you're tired, now you're sleeping, so it's relaxing. I'm not jealous of that, rest, but what I'm saying is there is no meditation. In meditation, the primary purpose of meditation is, in case of the one-pointed meditation, is achieve two things: clarity, stability. Clarity, stability. Clarity means The object on which you are concentrating should be very clear to the mind. And then the subject mind should be able to stay on the object stably. These two must be there. So when you meditate, make sure that clarity and stability is there. Right? And then when you with the second obstruction, when the mental dullness and sinking comes, then the clarity is lost and you fall into sleep. That's not only not good, but if you continue to do such meditation, your mind will become dull. Your mind will become dull. There are people who say that they've been meditating for a long time. Personally, they are very dull. I've seen such people. They are very dull and they can't ask many questions. They don't know much of the text. Their mind is like, going like this. Because you have been repeatedly meditating on dullness. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama, he meditates every day for so many years. Now 87 years. But you see, even when he's 87, his mind is shallow. So that is the perfect result of good meditation. Right? So with this, try to get rid of these two obstructions, excitement and mental sinking. And that's the object. Okay, so having observed these 7 postures, sorry. Oh, yeah, I mentioned head and eye and the 2 shoulders. Okay, then the edge, if you count the edge, the breath, then the breath is something that we all have with us, but normally we don't pay attention to it. So meditate on your breath. Observe the natural breathing system, that it is going out, it is coming in, it is going out, it is coming in. Imagine that your mind is present in between the nostrils and then watching the breath going out, watching the breath coming in. Okay. If you do more serious breathing meditation, then you slowly breathe in, then out. The breathing should be not from here. It should be all the way from the diaphragm. Many of us don't know how to breathe. Therefore, we feel suffocated. You see? When you have fear, you can't breathe properly. When you have anxiety, you can't breathe properly. In Tibetan, we were saying that I was so scared that my breath stopped in my mouth. You see? For speech also, if you want to become a translator or a good teacher, breathing process should be really very good. But if you speak from here, from here, how are you today? Are you okay today? Something like this, it's not clear. The breathing is your pran, as we say, pran is your life. And breathing, in the scientific language today, we say your breath is your remote control to your brain. Remote control to your brain. So proper breathing is important. So watch it. Watch it. And especially when you grow older, how you handle the energy, the breath is very, very important. Okay? Yeah.
During the meditation, we breathe from our mouth or from our nose?
From nose.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Because if you look at the nose, inside the nose you see some hairs. This is for distilling the impure particles and things like that, which we don't have in the mouth. You see. Then also, when the air comes in, in the nose, it brings down the temperature. If it's very hot, it will make it a little bit cool. If it's very cold, it will make it a little bit hot. Then goes inside. Okay. So there, I mean, I can't explain everything, but there are many, many advantages. Okay. All right. Now the purpose of doing this meditation of breath is, before you do any other major meditation on loving kindness and compassion, start with the breathing meditation. Because when your mind is not calm, you can't meditate. So breathing meditation is, first of all, to calm the mind. You make it, at least your mind will become kind of neutral. Breathing, watching breath itself is neither positive nor negative. It is simply calming the mind. The mind becomes calm. And then having made the mind neutral, you need to ensure that your mind does not become negative and ensure that your mind becomes positive. Okay? So therefore, in the beginning of your session, developing a proper positive motivation is very important. Motivation is very important. Motivation is very important because what you are going to achieve is very much dependent on your motivation, on your mind. So mind should be good. Therefore, this teacher, Atisha, is said to have said, whenever he meets people, the first thing he would ask is your mind good? Instead of saying, how are you? He'd say, was your mind good? So if your mind is good, it means everything is okay. If your mind is not good, things are not good, you see. So you would always ask, was your mind good? So whether it's listening, contemplation, meditation, offering, whatever religious practices you do, you need to first of all correct the motivation, set up the motivation. And therefore, we start the session by taking refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and cultivation of Bodhicitta. Okay. Okay, some questions?
Here we practice analytical meditation where it's guided. How do we approach it independently without getting in terms of getting excited and thought, like how to navigate through that in a correct and meaningful way?
Now, excited, you be careful with this usage of the word excited in English, There's a big question. Because when you do, in one sense, excitement is important, you see. When you do any little meditation or any good job you do, you should be happy, excited. I'm not saying don't have that kind of excitement. Here, excitement in the case of seeing excitement as an obstruction in doing one-pointed meditation means your mind gets so excited that you lose the focus. That kind of excitement is not good. So similarly, in the case of analytical meditation also, you get so excited that you are singing and dancing but not actually analyzing, then that's wrong. Okay. Otherwise, in every virtuous practices, one of the most important reason or cause for achieving success is perseverance, effort. Effort. Definition of effort means liking the work you do, delighting in the things that you do. So that excitement or that feeling of delight in all your virtuous practices, very, very important. Very important. Many people ask me, Gishila, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not achieving much. What should I do then? Then I tell them, maybe you're not very happy with what you're doing. You should be happy. How many people are able to do such practice, such precious practice? Yeah. The reason we regard the teachers, the Lama, so important is the wisdom, the false wisdom that comes from the teaching from the Lama. If you practice it, you cannot buy it in the market. We are used to only counting the money and, we're used to with only physical things, if there's something physical to see, a car or money or things that we are happy, it's there, The internal spiritual things, we can't see it like the physical thing. Therefore, we ignore, we don't pay much attention. I remember when you asked this question, I remember this lady very well. She came all the way from somewhere from America to this place very near from here in Himachal. There's a place called Jispa in Geelong in Lahore. So he told us to give Kala Chakra initiation there. I was translator at that time. So normally when he told us gives Kala Chakra initiation, before that he focuses more on the preliminary teaching. Kala Chakra is so famous, many people come, but his target is not Kala Chakra teaching. His target is to teach introduce Buddhism, the preliminary teachings. So there are 4 or 5 days preliminary teaching, and then 3 or 4 days Kala Chakra initiation. So the 4 or 5 days preliminary teaching was already done. I think 2 or 3 days of Kala Chakra initiation already done. Probably it was the last day of the Kala Chakra. So one of the security guards of His Holiness came to me and said, Krishna, there is a lady waiting there asking some question. Can you please go? So I went to this lady. And she was virtually shivering, She said, Geshe, I'm not somebody who has a lot of money. But my teacher said, go and this Kala Chakra initiation. I came all the way, spent all my money. I really don't know what I've got here. But this is a true concern, you see. Then I told her, have you listened to the teaching properly? She said, yes. Did you hear many things which you thought will be very useful? She said, yes. Can you buy many of these teachings in the market? She said, no. That is what you got. Go back, cherish these teachings. That's why these teachings are called precious gems, precious Garland, As I said yesterday, these are precious gems which no thieves can steal, no robbers can rob. Income tax officers will not bother you. They don't realize these things. It's all yours. Brothers and sisters and family members, they fight over the ordinary wealth, kill each other these days, unfortunately. But if you develop this internal qualities, it's all yours. And wherever you go, you will be happy. In happy times, of course, even in difficult times, you will be able to smile. Yeah, this is life. It's not me suffering. So many people are suffering. So why should I count my tragedy only? I should rather count my blessings, So the only problem is we don't realize the preciousness of these teachings. Because we are ordinary people, number one, full of afflicting emotions. When the environment is such that everybody is going on this direction, only 2-3 people going this direction. And the Buddha himself has said in one of the Mahayana teaching, this Mahayana teaching is very difficult to practice because everybody is going there, You are only going this direction. Especially when we talk about democracy, things like that. Democracy is also not democracy, it's mobocracy. Is it? So what we need is really some willingness to do a little bit of sacrifice for a bigger thing. Smaller things should be sacrificed. Right? So these are very, very important. Okay? And next question, yeah.
You said earlier it's important to have a clear mental image of the object of your meditation. Once you arrive at a felt sense of, say, joy or meditate towards that object, do you still need to hold on to the mental image, or do you just stay with it?
When you try to achieve one point in meditation, you're not supposed to do analytical meditation. You're not supposed to meditate on joy. You're not supposed to meditate on loving kindness. Just focus on that. And then once you achieve that one point of concentration, then later on use it in every field. It can be used for developing loving kindness, for compassion, for everything. Okay. Yeah.
Geshe, could you give us some examples of how on our own we can practice analytical meditation? When we're not being guided by a teacher, what is the best way?
Oh, the best way is number one is honestly speaking, when you do the analytical meditation, you don't have to be Buddhist. You don't have to be Buddhist. Use your mind. Every mind has a capacity to analyze. So the most important thing is you should, as much as possible, be unbiased. The mind, as much as possible, should be unbiased. It should not go after your likes and dislikes. Just like a scientist, try to see the reality as it is, as much as possible. Right? How far this is good to others, how far this is good to the world, what is the use of this, analyze.
To examine.
Exactly, examine. Then now, luckily these days, there are so many Buddhist teachings, text is available even audios, videos, books. Luckily now we have so much material. So there's no shortage of teachers. Online teachers are there. Online teachers are competing. You say, come here. So take some time and choose a qualified teacher giving online teaching. Okay. Yeah, so no problem now. And then also if you're done, that's what I do. Read many of the Western philosophies, many thinkers. I read a lot of philosophical works of the Western thinkers. Yeah, they're all thinkers, you see. Truth is not something that is monopolized by one group, you see. Truth is truth. Everybody try to find it from this way, from that way. It's very useful. You see from then what the scientists are saying, what the Western philosophers are saying, what the thinkers are saying. And then with this analysis, you have to get the right word. Yes, this is the word I've been looking. I could not get this word even in Buddhism. This is the word, you see. You get it? We don't have a word neuroplasticity in Buddhism. I'm able to use it. You see? Like in Buddhism, we say when you talk about finding the identity of a person, and there's no person that has independent existence, inherent existence, things like that. That's what we say in Buddhism. But if you read Western philosophy, they say the notion of I is very slippery. You see, saying the same thing but in a different way. It's very nice. So like that. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
So topic, but it's something that I think a lot of people are curious about. So as a Buddhist practitioner, I follow the 5 precepts, abstain from intoxicants, right? But I think in the West now we're starting to see a lot of people resorting to substances that alter the minds to, I guess, for introspective purposes. A lot of people develop compassion after these things, but there are obvious consequences, right? So, would you have anything to say about that?
No, I don't know, because I don't use those substances. But you see, if you use some of these drugs, okay, for example, LSD or whatever I use these drugs, whatever, wine, whatever. They're not only like drugs, but there are so many intoxicating things, you know. You may be intoxicated by wine, you may be intoxicated by men, you may be intoxicated by women, you may be intoxicated by chocolate. I mean, you call it addiction or intoxication, you know, we can get addicted, intoxicated by so many things, so many things. So when you get this intoxication or addiction to something, you know, sometimes you might get some sense of satisfaction and happiness and things like that. Like, for example, by using drugs, you know, people think this will help me develop compassion, you know. But as you rightly mentioned, one, the drugs leave its impact on your body, destructive impact on the body. It's very important to know. Second, even if you think you develop some kind of compassion with the use of this drug, then that will not be long lasting. The effect will not be long lasting. So therefore, when it comes to development of loving kindness and compassion, it should be through pure, you know, correct practices, so that the virtue, the quality that you develop will be stable and long lasting. Some years back, we had a very nice discussion in the temple, the Mind Life Conference, where of course His Holiness was there, and many other scientists and teachers were there. And there was, I remember this lady who, I don't remember the institute, she heads an institute in Washington, which primarily deals with studies addiction. So she made a very convincing presentation. In her presentation, she said, this was for me very, very helpful. And she said, the brain has natural capacity, to some extent, the natural capacity to judge between what is right and what is wrong for your body. Not just brain. I mean, this is really, really amazing to know. Our whole body is basically there to protect us. They are not there to harm us. You know, if you leave it to their true nature, the body, for example, coughing, you know, why you're coughing? When you cough, it is saying that some virus or dust or something is going in, you're throwing it out, you see. It's not good for the body. You're throwing it out. Sneezing, similarly. The body's reaction is to throw it out. Right? So the brain has this natural capacity to stop the bad things and invite the good thing that is good for your body. It will make fairly good judgments, what is good for you, what's not good for you. But if you get addicted to something, then the brain's natural capacity to judge is gradually lost. And the addicted part of the brain takes over. Now see, let me give you an example. For example, if you're somebody who never engaged in smoking, you know, then try smoking. For the first time, when you take that one puff of, you know, cigarette, the immediate reaction is coughing, right? We can try, you know, after lunch we can ask Tushita to supply a bunch of cigarettes. So everybody will cough, I'm sure. Apart from those who are already smoking. So coughing. So by coughing, the body is saying, the brain is saying it's not good for you. You take more coffee, for at least for a few days, it will come. Then you force yourself because of the company or whatever, you continue to. Then gradually the caffeine will go away. Now instead of rejecting, now the brain will say, brain, quit smoking. You like smoking now. That means the addicted part of the brain has taken over. The good brain has left its responsibility. The addicted part takes over, then the addicted part of the brain says, bring more. Just with everything. Just with everything. Coffee, tea, whatever. You get addicted. And when you get addicted, then you become helpless. All of us addicted to negative emotions. In Buddhist practice, what we are trying to do is get rid of these addictions to attachment, get rid of this addiction to anger, get rid of this addiction to jealousy. Right? And so difficult. And then on a small scale, your addiction to coffee or tea, whatever, it's very difficult for you to stop. So therefore, this is really important. Therefore, what we really need to see is have a very good understanding of the nature of your body, what it likes, what it doesn't like. For example, for the body, for drinking, water is best. Not Coca-Cola, not Pepsi, not Limca, and even tea, I doubt. You see? In Atlanta, at Emory University, I think, they did an experiment, a scientific experiment with all these drinks. They found water best. You see? And now, because we are addicted to so many things, we like the color, we like the look, then we go for this, then we get addicted, lose all our money. Water is free, you're not drinking. Your body is almost 70%, 80% made of water, not made of Pepsi or Coca-Cola. You see? So there's so much to learn about our body. And also much of the illness, sickness these days is not shortage of food, but too much eating. Too much eating. There was a time when there was no cooking, people were very healthy. The birds don't cook. Cows don't cook. Cows, unfortunately, they live with animals, they have big problem, they eat all the junks, So the birds are really, stay in the trees and things like that. The birds don't have a special hospital. Have you seen birds wearing eyeglasses? Have you seen? Maybe in the West they do so many things. And then birds, I learned the birds also, they don't take dinner or take very light dinner, which we are just talking, have light dinner. Birds have been practicing this. And they don't go out roaming in the night, birds. They come back exactly the same time. They don't use a clock or watch anything. They don't have a mobile phone. Near the entrance of my room, I have planted some bamboos. So every year, a couple of birds, they come there, lay egg, almost every year, then go back. So they come exactly at 7:30 in the evening. That's it. You see, so much, we are doing which is against nature, against our body. That's why we get sick. There's all kind of problems. Right? Okay. Yeah.
Earlier with the idol worshiping, and question, eventually Buddha was a man. Are you referring to him as more of a teacher, or more of a god, or more of both, or nothing at all?
Buddha was like you and me in the beginning. He was the prince. He had all the luxuries at his disposal. 2, 3 palaces, 2, 3 swimming pools, so many things, and surrounded by all the beautiful women singing, dancing, everything was there. And he was also he was more or less barricaded, he was put inside the palace because there was a forecast prophecy by somebody to the king saying that if you let him go outside the campus of the palace, he will leave the kingdom and become enlightened. The king don't want his son get enlightened. He wanted his son to look after his kingdom, you see. So anyway, he went out and then saw this, what we call it, the foresight, the aging, sickness, death, and things like that. Right? So what I'm saying is he was ordinary person. He saw the sufferings and he wanted to remove the sufferings. He looked for the causes of suffering. He saw people wanting happiness, not getting enough. So he questioned about the causes of happiness. Then he got causes of happiness, causes of suffering, and to remove the suffering, to accumulate the causes of happiness, things like that. So he was an ordinary person like him. And through this rigorous practice, he got enlightened. Okay? So therefore we emulate him. Because even in this world, for great people we respect, and they make their statues, you see. Statue of Abraham Lincoln or whatever, we make such statues. So similarly, we remember Buddha with these statues, but we don't consider Buddha as a god, a creator or something. Now. Okay, yeah.
Talk about the motivation. For the beginner, can you guide us how to get the good motivation during the
Good motivation is today I'm born as a human being. Lucky I'm born as a human being with this amazing intelligence. Not only intelligence, but being able to walk straight on 2 feet and have hand free, And if you read science, it took so many years to walk straight on 2 legs, which no other animal is able to do. You see? Now I was amazed, even when you see those people teaching yoga, there are 100,000 different postures that you can do. Singing also 100,000 different postures by which you can sing because your hand is free. There's so many. And then human beings have the biggest brain of all animals. Human beings have the biggest brain. I'm talking about relative to the size of the body. Right? So therefore we have this capacity to think for long-term benefit, short-term benefit. So therefore you need to appreciate that I'm lucky, I'm born as a human being with this great potential to do so many things, to think about so many things. Therefore, the best way to take advantage of this precious human life is to bring happiness to what all sentient beings, not just myself. Because just for oneself, even animals do. Producing kids, animals also do. Having sex, animals also do. Right? Eating food, animals also do. Right? Fighting, animals also very good. Sometimes better than us. They also plan, And I've seen, some kind of deers who fight almost to death. And then one gets victory, another loses. Then the loser goes to some other remote place and then practices fighting, nothing. Practice, then again go and fight it. You see? There are stories of birds, who plan and come together to fight the opponent. Many things the birds do, which we can't do. Have you seen some of these birds making the nest? They bring these grasses one by one and then knit them so beautifully. We can't do it. So there are many things the animals do. Even like the others. I think some kind of copper. They bring this small marks And when they make kind of storehouse, and once it is ready, on the wall they make it. I've seen it myself. In my room they were making, so I watched it. So they're making, then after that, then they go and then kill other insects and bring and put it, they store it there. Then finally they seal it the mud, then go away. Then some other season, they come and uncover the lid and eat the insects. They're very clever. They have some memory also. But they don't have this capacity to benefit all sentient beings or kids and human beings or sentient beings. They don't have that capacity. We have that capacity. If you look at this Hindi word, Purush means somebody who has the capacity. Not any capacity, but capacity to God. So that's why we say fulfill the Purush, fulfill the meaning of Purush, human being. And the English word human, the word human also, I think, has a connotation of good ethics. Right? So therefore, recognize this special human potential. I mean, just the capacity to smile. How many animals can smile? Just with the smile, you can make others happy. If it is not, again, we use, instead of the right smile, we use sarcastic smile, politicians smile, I mean, we are misusing everything. Really, just by the smile, That's why we say, basically, human beings, they are not of violent nature. Not violent. If you look at the physical structure, we are not of violent nature. We are compassionate nature. Look at these two hands, long hands. They're good for hugging, or for hitting. If it's for hitting, then we don't need these fingers, It should be like two lumps, good for boxing, Right? Then eyes also. Eyes are more like deer. More like deer, not like snake. Snake is like long, angry. More like deer. Especially when you love somebody, your eyes become again smaller. Why your eyes become smaller when you love somebody? For example, when you hug your children, things like that, your eye becomes so small. Why? Because you are loving that person from the mind. You go inside, not like this. Nobody hugs like this. Yeah, you go inside, express your situation, things like that. Right? So if you look at the whole structure, it's really for compassion. And then teeth also. It's not good for killing people, killing other sentient beings like tigers and lions. Nails also, it's not good enough to prey other animals. If you do that, forget about killing other animals. All your teeth will fall out, all your nails will fall out. Right? Then why so much problem created by human beings today? Because this great human potential, the human mind, is trained in the wrong way. That's why we need to talk about proper education, ethics, morality, things like that. So important. As I already mentioned the other day, when your mind is trained in the wrong way, then you become dictator. Shameless dictator, who continue to kill people just like killing flies. So therefore, training this mind and training the mind in the right direction is very, very important. Okay? Yeah. Can you get up, please? I can't hear properly. Good exercise, yeah.
In the Buddhism, we talk about who created the world, like God, or there is God in Buddhism.
In Buddhism, we say it is the way it is. It is the way it is. It is created by its cause. Like, for example, I am created by my father, not by God. I'm created by my father. My father is created by his father, his parents. His parents also created by his parents. Their parents also created by their parents. You go on like this. And you go on like this, and then suddenly you stop and say, no, 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 these parents are not created by their parents, they're created by somebody else. Doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm full respect to any other religion, but I'm just sharing the Buddhist explanation. So, beginningless. Why this is so? Law of nature. It's a law of nature. Law of nature means because of certain causes and conditions coming together, different things are produced. Like, for example, the beans, why they are round. Who painted the feathers of the peacock? Why these flowers, they have, these are false flowers. Why the true flowers, they have such a wonderful, color, shade of color. Who made it? From their causes. Scientifically, you can find out, it's in the seed. So that's the Buddhist way. And I found support, at least. I do limited reading. But I found the support of this Buddhist teaching in this great philosopher called Bertrand Russell. You know Bertrand Russell? You don't know? It's a big pity, Bertrand Russell is one of my famous philosophers. He lived same time with Einstein. Very famous philosopher, written many books. So he said, people who try to locate the beginning of the things shows the pettiness of their mind, smallness of their mind, because we want a beginning, Okay. One last question.
I have a question from Zoom. A question from the. It works, cool. So I have a question on terminology.
I thought you were sitting behind me. Okay.
So these two types of meditation. The first is calm abiding. So in Tibetan you would say shine, and in Sanskrit you would say shamatha. So my question is the second type, analytical. What are the names in Tibetan or in Sanskrit?
In Tibetan we call it lakong.
Lakung.
Lakong.
Okay, lakung.
This is for vipassana.
Okay, in Sanskrit vipassana. Perfect. Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who was asking? Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said yesterday, you mentioned about yesterday, and I'm also reading this book. So there is a mention of negative emotions, like anger, jealousy, hatred, and all this. And in fact, like since childhood and by society, we keep hearing these terms as negative emotions being referred these things, and also that to suppress them. This is what I think majorly we are to develop society from childhood. So my question is, like a piece, like in Buddhism, why it refers to as negative emotions? Because these emotions are who make us human, right? So, like so-called positive emotions, these are the emotions which are very humanistic characteristics. So one, why is it called negative emotion? Second is in Buddhism, what's the way to approach such situations or such emotions? Is it to, when you say be free of them, does it mean to suppress them, or what is the way? What is it mean?
Caution. Science. Exactly what you're saying. Science do not make distinction among emotions, negative and positive emotions. You're right. They say all emotions are necessary for human survival. Okay. But in Buddhism, we talk about positive emotions and negative emotions because there are emotions which are not good for your health, for your happiness, for harmony, which I'm sure science will agree to that extent. Probably they might say that all emotions are necessary, but some emotions, if you have too much, it will be not good. Probably they'll say something like this. So anyway, it is our experience and knowledge that all the conflicts that we have in the world are due to not out of compassion. Weddings are done by ignorance compared to conflagration of fire, whose job is to burn, right? So, so what I'm saying is also like attachment, because it is attachment which is today destroying the whole planet. Unchecked greed, unchecked desire, right? So therefore, from that point of view, we say negative emotions. So from Buddhist viewpoint, these negative emotions can be not only lessened, but can be completely removed. Now your question again can be, then are we not losing a part of the emotion which is necessary for our survival? You're right. In science, when we say all these emotions are necessary, they are saying because they are necessary for survival. But we are not talking just for survival. Survival is good, but it's not good if you survive by fighting, by getting obsessed, things like that. So what we are probably saying is, yes, because in science you must have heard this statement called fight and flight response. Have you heard about this? Have you studied this? Fight and flight response, meaning that we were human beings are also like other animals in the beginning. So our main task was have sex, hunt for our food. Then any other animals or start fight if you can, if not, run away. Fight and flight response.
Fight or.
Fight or flight. Fight or flight. Yeah, fight or flight response. Right? That's how it used to be. Now even modern science is now saying, I've seen some articles, fight and flight response, fight or flight response is not a good response actually. Because fight or flight response is something that you take without much thinking. Now that's what they are saying. As human beings, we should not take immediate reaction to this difficulty, but at least get some time to think what is good for you in the long run. That's what they are saying now. Right? So therefore, what Buddhism is saying is, yes, we have been living like this for long, fight or flight, and then having, attachment, producing children, all these things. We are not solving any problem. We are not able to lessen our, suffering. You may be like other animals. You may be, you may have come into this world exactly like other animals. We accept that. But at the same time, you must recognize this very special potential you have within you, by which you can completely get freed. So basically what we are saying is, you may not have been made for Buddhahood, enlightenment. You may have been made for survival, but that doesn't mean you don't have this capacity. You have the capacity. Well, there's a very nice book if you want to read it. It's a scientist and also looks like he's a very good knowledge of Buddhism. Why Buddhism is true. Have you read this book? There's a book called Why Buddhism is True. Very, very good analysis of it. So he explained this, very well here. repeat that, okay? Yeah. So basically, negative emotion means any emotion which when arises in your mind makes you completely disturbed, unhappy. Such kind of emotions are not necessary. That's what we see. Because we don't want to be disturbed. We don't want to lose our peace. So any emotion which when arises in your mind makes you perturbed, disturbed, there is negative emotion. It's not like compassion. When you develop compassion and think how nice if all sentient beings are free from suffering, you also get a little bit disturbed, but not completely disturbed. Because the negative emotions arise not out of your choice. You don't have much control. Compassion you have generated intentionally. Therefore, you may have some disturbance. It's like the real compassion that you develop, it's like an ocean. On the surface, there may be some turbulence, but deep down, it's calm. Because you have developed intentionally with knowledge systematically. So you don't get completely disturbed when you develop this positive qualities. But when you develop negative emotions, like when you get angry, you get completely disturbed, you get completely crazy. Similarly, attachment and so on. Okay. Okay. Good news. Lunchtime. You're watching from where?
We're watching from our home in Ganj.
Okay.
Because technically that's how it should be done. It should be done either on Zoom or either the whole retreat presence. We just follow the rules and we're watching from Zoom, but very, very grateful to be here. And you will keep following.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.